Hi, I'm Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. As I've said in other videos, I believe that Guerrero against Floyd Mayweather is a toss-up fight. I don't believe Floyd Mayweather is who he once was. What I want researchers to do, hardcore fight fans, is to compare and contrast the CompuBox numbers from his last fight against Miguel Cotto with other recent Mayweather fights. That Cotto fight, quite frankly, on CompuBox, is the most competitive fight Floyd Mayweather has had recently. Factor in also the ring rust. I don't care how many times the guy works out between fights. We're talking about a guy who hasn't fought in a year and who has been to prison where presumably he didn't have access to the type of gym facilities that he has outside of the ring. Right? So I believe ring rust is going to play a factor, coupled with father time, age, right? Mayweather now is older than 35, right? He's on the other side of 30. I believe this Floyd Mayweather, simply put, loses to the Mayweather who beat Diego Corrales and who dominated Arturo Gatti. Now that said, there's another side of the equation that you need to know about. As you research Robert Guerrero, understand that some of his questionable performances have been stricken from the record, right? I've put two up on my channel page. In fact, these are the two. It's where to start your research in figuring out whether Robert Guerrero has a legitimate shot of beating Floyd Mayweather. Right now in casinos, you're getting better than 6-to-1 odds. Longtime viewers know my betting strategy, which is to take long odds early and try to hedge the play when the odds shift right before the fight. But I need for you to look at Robert Guerrero against Dwyer. It's a very important fight, right? The fight was stopped in the second round because of an accidental headbutt. It does not appear as a win or a loss on Guerrero's record because it didn't go the required 4 rounds. Lennox Lewis, who does a great job, is actually one of the commentators for the telecast. And you can tell from the tone in Lennox Lewis's voice, as well as some of his statements. And of course, you can tell from Max Kellerman's comments that the broadcast team was actually surprised with the right hands that Dwyer was able to land, right? Let me just say this. What I want you to do is to see how Dwyer, and it's short footage, is able to land enough right hands where he has Guerrero thinking about it to the point where with 16 seconds left in the first round, right? This is all early, right? 16 seconds left in the first round, Jordan's actually able to land a left hook. Now, Dwyer, as Lennox Lewis points out, has great feet. He's able to move around the ring with Robert Guerrero. It's an open question on whether Floyd Mayweather at this age can do that for 12 rounds, right? Jordan, early in this fight, is able to move around. More importantly, he's able to land lead right hands. Right? He's able to land straight right hands on Robert Guerrero, who inexplicably is on his front foot for the fight. Let me just say this. There are two Robert Guerreros. The one on his front foot is not as good as the one on his back foot. Right? I believe that to beat Mayweather, what Guerrero has to do is to force Floyd to use his legs. Force Floyd to come find him. Right? He can't fight the fight that he fought against Dwyer or most recently against Selçuk Aydin and Andre Berto. In other words, I don't want to see Guerrero trying to impose himself on the other fighter. I want Guerrero to be a slick, elusive southpaw, not an aggressive one, right? He's an aggressive one, and Dwyer makes him pay. Also important, given the styles, is the fact that Dwyer, after he throws punches, is able to repeatedly tie up Robert Guerrero. Right? Max Kellerman mentions it on the telecast. He's able to land a counter and then lean forward and tie up his opponent. That's something Floyd likes to do. Right? That pot shot counter, and then Floyd ties you up. Right? What Guerrero's going to have to do is to make sure that doesn't happen. In other words, he has to keep his hands going. He has to keep moving so the other fighter can't measure him, hit him with a counter or a lead solo punch, and then come forward and tie him up like Dwyer did. Right? I'd like to see the Guerrero who fought Michael Casitas, not this Guerrero. There's another troublesome fight, and I've posted a key portion of that fight on my YouTube channel page. It's Robert Guerrero's loss to Orlando Salido. Now understand, this fight also has been wiped from Guerrero's record because Orlando Salido failed a post-fight drug test. What's important in the fight, though, whether it's part of the official record or not, is the fact that Orlando Salido, one of boxing's craftiest fighters, but so too is Floyd Mayweather, is able to repeatedly land right-hand power shots. Right? He's able to land right-hand leads. Right? Now, Salido is slick with it, but he's able to repeatedly land that right hand to Guerrero's body. Right? Here again, Robert Guerrero's too close to Orlando Salido. I want Guerrero to use length a bit better. Right? I believe, contrary to the public statements by the fighters, right? There's a film going around where Floyd Mayweather confronts Robert Guerrero, right, in a Showtime promo and says, I don't know who you fought. Right? As if Robert Guerrero's a total stranger. Let me just, as an aside, point out that we know that's bogus. Because in that same film, Mayweather is completely aware of the fact that Guerrero claimed that it would be an easy fight against Mayweather. In fact, Mayweather, during the same video, says, you said fighting me would be an easy fight. Right? If Mayweather is tracking Guerrero's interviews, he's certainly tracking Guerrero's fights. Right? But just understand that, Mayweather, I'm positive, contrary to what he says, researches fight films. You know that because in the early rounds of Mayweather fights, Mayweather already looks prepared for his opponent. You don't see a Mayweather fight where Mayweather's looking at a guy and, looking like he's thinking, oh, wow, this guy's a southpaw? Oh, wow, this guy throws hooks? No, Mayweather already knows that information, right? Let me point out, too, that Mayweather is actually one of the better analysts of past fighters. Right? Mayweather, in interviews, has talked about the fact that Ali rarely went to the body. I found that the fighters who look at films, old films, look at new films, and what films are more relevant than the films of your next opponent. So my point is simply this. I've posted the weak points of Guerrero's career on my channel page. The 1.5 rounds, it's short, against Dwyer, where Jordan's landing right hands and tying up Guerrero. Right? Understand, it's so shocking because I've also posted Celestino Caballero's deconstruction of Dwyer, and one wonders why Guerrero didn't come close to exposing Jordan's weaknesses like Caballero did. Right? The other fight, other than the Dwyer fight, is the Salido fight I mentioned earlier. Keep in mind, the judges ruled that Salido won that fight. That's a fight that went to the judges, and Guerrero lost the fight. Right? As you watch that fight, just understand that Salido's right hand is landing with too much regularity. Floyd Mayweather's a right-handed fighter. He likes to come back with that right counter, right? Look at the Oscar De La Hoya film. You'll see there are times there where, Mayweather comes back with that right hand. He does pull counters with that right hand. I'm positive, given that he could fight several people, given that multi-million-dollar paydays were out there, big name fighters like Canelo wanted to fight him, right? It wouldn't take Mayweather a long time to line up a big opponent. I'm convinced that Mayweather is fighting Robert Guerrero in part because of the films I've posted on my YouTube channel page. The Dowd Yordan film and the Orlando Salido film. You need to be aware of both, even though they're not part of the official record. Let me hear from you. Leave your comments for me here online. I encourage everyone to view the films on my YouTube channel page from time to time. When a fight's coming up, I'll actually post some footage of the fighter. It's footage I'm looking at as part of my research on the fight. I also have some footage from Pianeta, who's Vladimir Klitschko's next opponent, right? And some of it is Troublesome, right? Take a look on my YouTube channel page. Leave your comments for me here online. Just understand that even with this footage, I believe the Guerrero-Mayweather fight is a toss-up fight. Let me hear from you. Thanks for stopping by. Visit us at gamblersadvisory.com.